Okay. We are going to do the second part of part 2. Yesterday we did the first part, and I'm going to share my screen with you. I told you guys that today you guys are going to have to choose your own quotes. Yesterday we had chose them for you, but today you're going to choose a minimum of 6 quotes. You can choose more, but the quotes are going to be helpful when it does come to writing assignments later. You're going to, again, rephrase the quote in your own words. It's one thing to be able to read it and copy it down. It's another thing to be able to tell me what it means in your own words, and then explain why it's important. So we're going to read through it. You guys can listen to it quietly and then pick any 6 quotes that you like, and then we'll look at the assignment that's also on the bottom. And yesterday we left Montag at Faber's house, and they were talking about printing books and turning the books into, putting the books into firemen's homes. We're not ready for something that big, Faber said. We have to take small steps. Right now we need to focus on getting people to listen to ideas, even just a little bit. Then someday we can take down this terrible system. We can't wait for someday, Montag said. We need to do this now. I have a list of all the addresses of all the firemen. We just need others to help us. Aren't there other people like you who could help us? People who used to be writers and teachers? Most of them are dead, Faber said, or so old they should be dead. That's good, Montag said. Nobody will suspect old people. Admit it, you know lots of people. I do, Faber said. There are actors who are angry because they haven't been able to perform Shakespeare. There are historians who are angry because they can't write books anymore. We could use their anger to make this plan work. But we'll need more than just anger. Firemen burn the books, but they aren't the real problem. People have gotten used to watching TV. They've gotten used to not thinking. They chose to stop reading. Nobody forced them. Teaching people how to think again will be the hard part. What's the use? People are having fun. They don't want to change. We have to try, Montag said. They have fun by killing themselves. They have fun by killing other people. Something has to change. The sound of bomber jets zooming across the sky made them both stop to listen. Every day there were more and more bomber jets flying closer and closer to the city. Another war is coming, Faber said. When the bombs fall, maybe that will destroy all the TVs. Maybe then people will be ready to listen to one another again. And we will be here, ready to help them listen, Montag said. What are we doing? Faber said. How can 2 men change the entire world? It's impossible. In a few hours, we'll probably all be dead from the bombs anyway. None of it will matter. Don't you care anymore? Montag asked. I care so much it makes me feel sick, Faber said. Then help me, Montag said. Montag paused and looked at Faber. Montag looked at the Bible he was still holding in his hands. Would you like to own this book? Montag asked. I'd give anything to own that book, Faber said. Slowly, Montag opened the book. He looked at Faber. He tore out a page. Faber didn't move. Montag tore out another page. He hoped his plan would work. He hoped that Faber would help him to save the book. Stop, Faber finally said. What are you doing? Faber bent down on the floor and picked up the torn pages. Montag tore another page. Please stop, Faber said. Don't tear out any more pages. Tell me what you need me to do. I need you to teach me, Montag said. Teach me how to think for myself. Montag, do you have any money? Faber asked suddenly. He had an idea. I have about $500, Montag said. Why? Go get the money, Faber said. I know a man who used to have a printing press for printing newspapers. He may be able to start printing a few books for us if we can pay him. If we hide a few books in the houses of a few firemen, that may be enough to get people's attention. Your plan might work, for now. Montag, you need to go back to work at the firehouse. You need to go to work tonight. You need to act like nothing's wrong. I'm afraid to go back to work, Montag said. Captain Beatty seemed like he knew everything. When I hear him telling me something, I want to believe him. I'm afraid if I go back to work, he'll change my mind. I'll be the same idiot I was a few days ago, burning books and never thinking for myself. Faber nodded. He understood. Can you help me? Montag asked. Can you help me be strong when Captain Beatty starts to talk? I don't want to let him get in my head and change my mind. I've been a coward my whole life, Faber said. But while I was hiding here alone, I was working on radios and signals. I have something that I can use to help you. Faber went into the bedroom and came back with a green seashell earbud in his hand. It looked just like the seashell earbuds that everyone wore, but Faber told him that this seashell earbud was special. This looks more like a bullet than a seashell, Faber said, but I made it myself. Seashell earbuds can only let you hear music in advertisements. This one is different. I can use this one to listen to everything you hear and talk into your ear when Captain Beatty starts to say things I think will change your mind. Try it on. Montag put the green bullet earbud into his ear. Can you hear me? Faber whispered. Yes, Montag said. Good. We'll use it to keep Captain Beatty out of your head, Faber said. While you're at work, I'll be listening to everything. I'll be there with you, ready to help you. I'll also go find the printer to see if he can make the books. It's almost time for my shift at the firehouse to start, Montag said. I should go. I need to stop by my house to get my gear first. Good night, Professor. Not good night, Faber said. Remember, I'll be right there in your ear all night. I should really tell you good luck, but I think you'll be okay. I really do. Montag handed the Bible to Faber and closed the door behind him. Montag could tell another war was about to start. More and more bomber planes were flying in the sky every minute. He could see their lights blinking in the darkness. Montag had gone to the bank and had taken out the $500 to give to the printer. He had the money in his pocket. As he walked along, he listened to news reports on the seashell radio he had in his ear. The news reports said 1,000,000 military troops were getting ready to deploy. In his other ear, he had the green bullet radio Faber had given him. Faber was talking in that ear. It's probably more like 10 million troops, but they tell us 1 million because it doesn't sound as bad, Faber said. Professor Faber, Montag said, I still don't feel like I'm thinking for myself. You told me to go to the bank and get $500, so I did it. I didn't think to do it myself. When will I start being able to think for myself? You're thinking for yourself right now, Faber said. The fact that you're questioning shows that you're thinking for yourself. Right now, you're choosing to trust me. That's not the same thing as just doing what you're told. You made a decision. I want to be sure that I'm choosing for myself, Montag said. I don't want to just go from doing whatever Captain Beatty says to doing whatever you say. That's not the man I want to be. Don't worry, Faber said. You're becoming the man you want to be. I can see it. Do you want me to read to you? It'll help you feel less nervous, and it will give me something to do. Yes, Montag said. I'd like it if you read to me. Back in his house, Faber opened the Bible and began to read into the green bullet radio, the book of Job. Montag listened to Faber's voice in his ear as he kept walking towards home. When Montag got home, he realized how hungry he was and sat down to have some food. He was going to need the energy when he went to work at the firehouse and had to face Captain Beatty. It was going to be hard to pretend that everything was fine and that he still believed in burning books, but he had to do it if he wanted their plan to work. The doorbell rang. Millie came running out of the living room. As usual, all the TVs were on. As usual, the sound from them was too loud. It was giving Montag a headache. Millie opened the door, and her friends, Mrs. Phelps and Mrs. Bowles, came in. They all went into the living room. Nobody said hello to Montag. The women's voices were even more annoying than the TV sounds. Montag went to the door of the living room and stared at them. Doesn't everyone look nice? Mrs. Phelps said. Nice, Mrs. Bowles repeated. You look pretty, Millie, Mrs. Phelps said. Pretty, Mrs. Bowles repeated. Everyone looks great, Mrs. Phelps said. Great, Mrs. Bowles repeated. Montag couldn't believe he had never noticed how stupid they were before. He couldn't believe he had never seen how they didn't ever say anything important. Montag could feel anger starting to build up inside of him. He began to breathe faster. Faber heard his breathing and said, Be patient, stay calm. Don't let them upset you. I shouldn't be here, Montag whispered so only Faber could hear. I should be coming back to your house with the money. You have to be patient, Faber said. You'll see me tomorrow. For now, you have to act like everything is fine so nobody will suspect our plan. The TV was still too loud. The women's voices were still annoying. This show is wonderful, Millie said. Wonderful, Mrs. Bowles repeated. The White Clown show was on. On the TV screens, clowns dressed in white clown suits ran around with axes, chopping off one another's arms and legs. The screen changed, and this time the clowns were driving cars and smashing them into one another. Bodies were flying out of the cars and bleeding in the street. Millie, Mrs. Phelps, and Mrs. Bowles were laughing and laughing as they watched. It made Montag feel sick. He went to the wall and turned off the TVs. The women turned to look at him. They were mad. When do you think the war's going to start? Montag asked the women. Your husbands didn't come over with you tonight. That must mean they've already been sent to the war, right? Mrs. Phelps and Mrs. Bowles looked bored. The war won't take very long, Mrs. Phelps said. Pete, my husband, left yesterday. The Army said he'll be back in a week. I'm not worried. I let Pete do all the worrying. It's always somebody else's husband that dies, Millie said. I heard that too, Mrs. Phelps said. I've never known anybody's husband who died in a war, and we have wars all the time. Sometimes people's husbands kill themselves by jumping off a building or something, but they don't die in a war. But it wouldn't matter to me if Pete died. We've both been married 3 times before, so we're both independent. We just do whatever we want. We agreed. If he dies, I shouldn't cry. I should just go get a new husband and never think about him again. Montag stared at Millie and her friends. Their faces were caked with too much makeup. Their hair was breaking off from being dyed too often. They were smoking cigarettes one after the other so they wouldn't feel hungry, eat food, and get fat. They didn't even seem human to him. They seemed more like empty boxes with nothing inside them than people. Still, he felt like he needed to try to talk to them. Maybe he could help them. Let's talk, Montag said to Millie and her friends. They stared at him as if he's just said something crazy. How are your children, Mrs. Phelps? Montag asked. You know I don't have any children, Mrs. Phelps said. Ugh, why would I want to have children? I have 2 children, Mrs. Bowles said. I made sure I had a C-section, though. That way they wouldn't ruin my body. The doctor told me I didn't need a C-section, but I told him I wouldn't have the baby unless he cut it out. I wasn't going to tire myself out pushing out some baby. Even with the C-section, children ruin your body, Mrs. Phelps said, and they make it so hard to go out and have fun. I wouldn't have a baby. No way. It's not that big of a deal, Mrs. Bowles said. I just send them away to school. They only come home 3 days a month. When they're home, I just turn on the TV until it's time to send them back to school. I barely even notice them. All 3 women laughed. I know what we should talk about, Millie said. We should talk about politics. Guy likes to talk about politics. I voted in the last election, Mrs. Bowles said. I voted for President Noble. He's very good looking. He's the best looking president we've had yet. I saw the man who ran against him, Mrs. Phelps said. He was ugly. He was short, Millie said. I don't know how they thought a short man could beat a tall man in an election. He was fat, too, and he had an ugly name, Hubert Hogue, Mrs. Phelps said. No wonder he lost. What's wrong with all of you, Montag said. Don't you even care that President Noble is the reason we're having another war? Millie rolled her eyes. Go away, Guy, Millie said. You're boring and you're bothering us. Montag left the room, but not for long. He went to the hallway, ripped the bent cover off, and grabbed a book. Stomped back into the living room. Damn it, damn it, damn it, Guy yelled, waving the book in front of the women. They looked shocked. It's poetry, Montag shouted, waving the book again. Leave me alone. In his ear, Faber was speaking into the Greenbelt radio. He was trying to tell Montag to stop, but Montag was too angry to listen. You're all monsters, Montag shouted at the women. You don't care about anyone but yourselves. You don't care about your husbands. You don't care about your children. You don't even care that there's about to be a war that could kill us all. In his ear, Faber was trying to get Montag's attention. Montag, stop. You're going to ruin everything. Mrs. Phelps and Mrs. Bowles stood up and started to walk to the door. Sit down, Montag shouted. They sat. As long as we're here, you can read us a poem or something, Mrs. Phelps said. Oh, no, Mrs. Bowles said, afraid. We can't do that. Of course we can, Mrs. Phelps said. Maybe if we let Mr. Montag read us his silly poem, he'll leave us alone so we can do something fun. Faber was still trying to speak into Montag's ear. Stop it right now. If you don't stop, I'm going to cut the radio signal so you can't hear me anymore. I'm going to scare them, Montag said to Faber. I'm going to scare them until they understand. Faber talked into the green ear radio. You have to get out of this. Tell them you're playing a joke. Tell them you aren't mad at them. Go to the wall incinerator and throw the book in to burn it. You can't let them find out the truth. Mildred is already trying to cover up for Montag. Everything's fine. Once a year, every fireman gets to bring an old book from home. It's so he can show his family how silly things used to be. So he can help us understand how silly books are. Right, darling? She looked at Montag, urging him to play along. Faber whispered into Montag's ear, Say yes. Yes, Montag said. Go ahead and read them that silly part you read me the other day, Mildred said. Faber whispered into Montag's ear, Open the book and read. Stay calm. Montag opened the book. The name of this poem is Dover Beach, Montag said. A man named Matthew Arnold wrote it a long time ago. It's a poem about war. Seems right to read a poem about war tonight. This is from the middle of the poem, but it's the most important part. The sea of faith was once, too, at the full and round earth's shore, lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world, which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and fight, where ignorant armies clash by night. For once, Milly and her friends didn't have anything to say. Then Mrs. Phelps started to cry. Don't cry, Milly said uncomfortably. I don't know why I'm crying, Mrs. Phelps said. I feel funny. I don't know what to call this feeling. I don't like it. I don't like it. See, Mrs. Bowles said, this is why poems are bad. They make people cry. You're a bad man, Mr. Montag. Mrs. Phelps was crying harder and harder. She couldn't stop. You and your silly words, Mrs. Bowles yelled. Your silly words hurt people. Why do people want to hurt people? Like there isn't enough hurt in the world without stuff like that making things worse. That's enough, Mildred said, getting more and more upset. She was trying to sound happy, but it wasn't working. We'll just put the TV back on. We'll watch our shows. Everything will be fine. I'm leaving, Mrs. Bowles said. I'm never coming over here again. Your husband is crazy. Go home, Montag said to Mrs. Bowles and Mrs. Phelps. Go home and think about the first husband you divorced. Think about the second husband who was killed in a war. Think about the third husband who shot himself in the head. Think about the dozen abortions you've had. Think about the children you do have who hate your guts. Think about how the world is terrible because of people like you. Get out of my house before I pick you up and throw you out. Mrs. Phelps and Mrs. Bowles left, slamming the front door behind them. Milly ran into the bathroom. He could hear the sound of her bottle of sleeping pills as she shook them into her hand. Milly couldn't handle the feeling she was having, so she was just going to take a handful of pills to go to sleep. It was easier than actually trying to think or feel. In his ear, Montag heard Faber on the green ear bullet. Oh, Montag, you're a fool. Shut up, Faber, Montag yelled. He took the green ear bullet out of his ear and put it in his pocket. He knew he had made a terrible mistake, and he didn't want to hear Faber tell him so. Montag looked all over the house until he found where Milly had hidden the remaining books behind the refrigerator. Some books were missing. She had already been burning them. He took the remaining books outside and hid them under a bush in the yard. They would be safer there for a little while. Montag went back into the house. He wanted to try to talk to Milly again, but she was already in bed with the seashell earbuds in her ears. The sleeping pills had already kicked in, and it would be impossible to wake her up. He walked out of the house to go to work. He walked past Clarice's house. It was dark and empty. He felt sad. He put the green ear bullet back into his ear. He needed to hear Faber's voice. He had only known Faber for a few hours, but Montag had already started to need him. Faber didn't say anything about the horrible fight Montag had back at the house. He just read out loud from the Bible. His voice made Montag feel calm as he walked along. Finally, Faber said calmly, instead of hating those women, try to feel pity for them. Remember, you were like them once. They just don't understand. Maybe they will someday. I'm an old man. I spent most of my life hiding and trying to keep myself safe. I didn't speak out or try to help women like that. I have no right to judge them. You're about to go into the firehouse. Captain Beatty is going to be very persuasive. You can't lose your temper again. Let me help you. I'll be listening. I'll tell you what to say to him. I just keep on thinking about Mrs. Phelps, Montag said. That poem I read made her cry. It made her feel something. Right now you have to forget about Mrs. Phelps, Faber said. Right now you have to go into the firehouse to face Captain Beatty. I'm afraid, Montag said. Everyone feels afraid, Faber said. I spent most of my life feeling afraid. I wish I'd actually done something instead of just feeling scared. Montag was standing outside the firehouse. Don't leave me, Montag said to Faber. I'll be right there in your ear, Faber said. Go inside. You can do this. Montag walked into the firehouse. Captain Beatty and the other firemen were sitting at the table playing cards, just like they always did. Montag noticed the mechanical hound was gone. He wasn't sure if that should make him feel better or more afraid. Nice to see you feel better and were able to come to work, Captain Beatty said. Guess you were able to get rid of that bad fever you had. Sit down, Montag. Play poker with us. Montag sat down. Captain Beatty dealt him some cards. Montag kept staring at his own hands, thinking about how those hands had been touching a book just a little while ago. Made him feel so guilty. He kept getting up to wash his hands, as though that would fix it. Captain Beatty saw how nervous Montag looked and laughed. Relax, Montag, Captain Beatty said. The crisis has passed and all is well. The sheep returns to the fold. We're all sheep who have strayed at times. Sweet food of sweetly uttered knowledge. Sir Philip Sidney. Of course, Alexander Pope disagreed. He said, words are like leaves, and where they most abound, much fruit of sense beneath is rarely found. What do you think, Montag? Who was right? Is knowledge a good thing, like Sir Philip Sidney said, or a bad thing, like Alexander Pope says? In Montag's ear, Faber said, be careful how you answer, Montag. He's testing you. Don't fall for it. I don't know, Montag said to Captain Beatty. What do you think about this? Captain Beatty said. Alexander Pope also said, a little learning is a dangerous thing. He said that learning is like getting drunk. I think you got drunk on learning for a little while, Montag. You read a little bit and thought you should change the world. You got angry. I understand. You think I don't, but I do. I went through the same thing. I'm okay now, Montag said. Nothing to worry about with me. You don't need to feel embarrassed, Captain Beatty said. I'm not just teasing you to be mean. I was taking a nap a couple hours ago and I had a dream that you and I got into a big debate about books. In my dream, every time you made a point, I was able to shoot you down. I won that debate. Faber spoke in Montag's ear. Be careful. He's trying to confuse you. Don't fall for it. Captain Beatty kept talking and talking. Every word he said was a quote from a different book by a different author. Montag couldn't even concentrate. It was too much information. It was getting harder and harder to concentrate. Stop it, Montag yelled. You're confusing me. Captain Beatty grabbed Montag's wrist. Your pulse is really racing, Captain Beatty said, laughing. I think I've upset you. Maybe I should keep going. I know lots of books. Faber spoke in Montag's ear. You can't let him get to you. You have to stay calm. Remember our plan. I'm sure it's very upsetting to hear that I can use books too, Captain Faber said. What traitors books can be. You think they're backing you up and then they turn on you. At the end of my dream, I drove up to you in the fire truck and you got inside. You remembered who you really are, Montag. Everything was fine in the end. Montag was overwhelmed. All he could do was sit there, staring at Captain Beatty. There were so many thoughts in his head, but he couldn't stay calm to really think through any of them. Faber spoke in Montag's ear. Captain Beatty has said what he wanted to say. He's done now. It's up to you to decide who you want to listen to, me or Beatty. But remember, Captain Beatty stands for all the things you hate. Don't forget that. The fire alarm went off. The men were being called to go burn books somewhere in the city. All of them got into the fire truck and drove out to the call. Montag, you look sick, Captain Beatty said. Hope your fever isn't coming back. I'm fine, Montag said. It's good, because this is a very special case we're going to tonight, Captain Beatty said. They rode through the streets with their sirens blaring until they came to a stop. Remember, Montag, it's our job to keep everyone happy and safe, Captain Beatty said. They were in front of Montag's house.